Rock City Networks in the Push, coming to you from Face the Music 2010, and joining me is David Vodicka of Media Arts Lawyers and Rubber Records and Music Publishing. How are you, mate?
Not too bad.
Yeah, excellent. Now, Face the Music's kicked off today. There's a lot of buzz going on. How are you seeing this event unfold so far? Because you would have been at a lot of music conferences yourself.
It's probably a bit early in the day to ask me. I've sort of just whipped in for that, but it seems like it's been well set up, and there's a great panel of things for people to see, and hopefully it'll, deliver what it wants to do, which is basically, I guess, education and information to the people who come.
Okay, excellent. Now for our viewers out there that may not be aware of Media Arts Lawyers or Rubber Records, can you please take us through exactly how you facilitate and what you do with those respectively?
Yes, of course. The Media Arts Lawyers is the law firm of which I'm a principal. We have a number of lawyers who work at the firm, and we're a firm that specialises in the media entertainment sector, which is obviously relating to those issues of copyright, intellectual property, contracts, and we work with everyone from musicians to managers to publishers, record companies, TV people, film people, and I guess we offer all sort of services in the legal sector. So that's what we do. Rubber Records is a company that I set up over 20 years ago, which is a small independent record label, and I basically put out a number of artists on that label over the years and continue to do so. And it's sort of, I guess, always just been a passion of mine to, put out particularly Victorian-based, artists to the market. So that's my sort of, it used to be my full-time job many years ago in one sense, while I was part-time as a lawyer, and these days I'm kind of more full-time as a lawyer, and we still put out some records as well.
Yeah, excellent. Now, I do find it interesting that so many people like yourself that are here that have carved a huge path into the music industry, especially locally and nationally, give your time at these events, because if you could, you just wouldn't turn up, or you wouldn't give your time back. But genuinely, that's
not true. I think the reason that that these events are important, wherever they are, is I think that you sort of, after you've been doing it, after you've been working in the industry quite a while, and I think maybe when I first started, I did stuff myself, and I just made a lot of mistakes and learned by process of I'll stuff that up, particularly on the record label side where I didn't really know a lot. And as a lawyer, I guess I just got experience through the number of deals that I did and the people that we work with. And I think that at some point when you realise that you don't operate in a vacuum, you don't operate outside of everything else. You might think you're indie and you're not, you're different to what everyone else is doing, but really you are part of society and you're part of an industry. And I think that if you have a degree of experience or success and you feel you can contribute something back, then I think it's a totally worthy thing to do that. So as a sort of general policy for our law firm is, for all our lawyers, is to go to the conferences and to provide free time for arts law and for other services to basically put something back, rather than just saying, oh, we just do this and we'll charge you X, Y, and Z for it. So doing things like free legal advice sessions or talking about particular issues of the industry, which is information that might normally cost you, for example, if you go to see a lawyer, I think is, something that's worthy and should, from our point of view, is something that we want to continue to support.
Yeah, it's a good thing. Now, and speaking of issues, legal issues, in music, you're sitting on the panel for the Kookaburra case. Kookaburra case. What will the discussion sort of entail? Where are you going to go with that, or is it going to just be throw it out on the floor and see where it goes?
Well, I don't really know, other than I think I'm supposed to provide a little bit of background about the case.
Sure.
So, there was this Kookaburra. It's really just to do with, I guess, the nature of copyright infringement, and the bigger issues are probably to do with what constitutes infringement, and, for songwriters to understand when you borrow something from somebody else's work, that there can be ramifications of it.
Yeah.
Some people sort of, in a world where peer-to-peer sharing is part of the culture in a lot of ways these days, that people don't think they have to pay for a lot of music, I don't think they always understand that using other, that there are still ramifications for doing, copying works. That said, this relates to a song that's 30 years old, so it's a bit of an unusual case. But anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, no, and also what I'd be interested to find out is, do you have frequently asked questions when you do give your free legal advice sessions? As far as do artists always seem to be asking the same questions on those?
I guess there's a fair few of the same questions that come up. Is there? I've heard that if it's under 5 seconds, I don't have to clear it. Things like that. And people I think generally just don't always have access to information that that they either trust or is accurate or whatever, and they sometimes have misconceptions about things. I mean, but ultimately, the law tends to either be about knowing your rights insofar as they are with copyright, or regulating your relationships, insofar as I've got an agreement with a manager, record company, publisher, whatever. What does that mean? And those are the questions that always come up. Yeah. How do these agreements work, or what is good, what is bad, or which aren't always easy to answer, because these days there's many different combinations of what constitutes a deal, and you have to decide yourself whether it works, rather than asking someone else. The lawyers can't tell you. As a lawyer, you can't make a value judgment, like he's an idiot or something like that. I mean, you're really just supposed to say, ultimately this is a deal, this is what it says, and this is what the ramifications will be, and you, the client, have to make your decision about whether that's acceptable or not.
Sure. Now, are there any preconceived notions or misconceptions that just keep rearing their ugly head that you'd like to knock on the head? Is there anything that just keeps coming up that you just go, well, it's just there must be a few. Yes, you cannot. It doesn't matter how long the bloody song is. You cannot. There's no 5 second rule. There's no, Okay.
Which is actually the Kookaburra case to an extent, because I think it's 2 bars. The fact of the matter is if it's identifiable and it's considered a substantial, reproduction of the existing work, that is an infringement.
Yeah.
I guess that's the one that people just don't understand. There's no leave pass. There's no easy way to get around it. You have to do clearances if you're going to sample other people's work or borrow it.
Yeah, well, that's fair enough. Now, in terms of Rubber Records, is there anything coming up in the future?
Yeah, of course. There's always something coming up. The records we're working on at the moment were the Cordrazine record, their Reformation record after 12 years away, or living in a hole somewhere, which is a great record. There's a new single coming out next year for that, and the GB3 record, which is Glenn Benny, who was in Underground Lovers, or still is, and he's just done a record with Steve Kilby from the Church, and that's a great little record which we're just in the process of putting out at the moment. And of course there's new records next year from the Exploders and record producer and Scientists of Modern Music, etc.
Excellent. Well, it all sounds very interesting. Thank you very much for your time.
Yeah, no problem.
And good luck with the panel on the Kookaburra case. I'm sure that's going to be very interesting.
Luck has nothing to do with it, so
And I'm sure you'll get asked that 5 second question again at some point during the day.
I'd say I will.
Well, thank you for clearing it up. Hopefully, this stops a lot of people from asking you the free legal advice, not the freegal advice.
Only if they've persevered this far in the interview.
I think they will, mate.
Okay, thanks.
No worries. Thank you very much for joining us here at Face the Music for Rock City Networks.
Hey, come and tell me.